Hi, Margaret. I wanted to do a problem that I gave on a practice handout of empirical formula. Um, that's when you get the simplest whole number ratio of the atoms or the elements, and there's some different ways of giving you the information, but this is the one that I had. If I have 13.5 grams of calcium, 10.8 grams of oxygen, and 0.675 grams of hydrogen, how do I know what the empirical formula is? Well, the empirical formula is the simplest whole number ratio of the elements in that formula. And so it's not the simplest whole number ratio of mass. So the numbers that I gave you all have to be adjusted. And I use this little grid to set up my conversion factors so I know how to do them properly. 1 mole of calcium is 40.08 grams of calcium. I like to write out the units so I can make sure that I cancel them correctly. 1 mole of oxygen is 16 grams of oxygen, and the grams of oxygen cancel. And then I have 1 mole of hydrogen is 1.01 grams of hydrogen, and then grams of hydrogen cancel. You mentioned something the other problem that, like, sometimes certain things like H2 or F2 are in a formula, but for empirical formula, you just care about the simplest whole number ratio of that element. So I don't really have a calculator. I'm going to have to use my phone, but let's see what I get here when I take 13.5 divided by 40.08. I get 0.337 moles of Ca. My oxygen is 10.8 divided by 16. I get 0.675 moles of O. Notice how I write the units. And 0.675, that's interesting, divided by 1.01 is basically, 0.675. I probably don't even need the calculator. No, that can't be true. Yeah, it's very helpful sometimes to look at an answer on your calculator and say, that doesn't make sense. And I get 0.668. So, the whole key about the best way to get the simplest whole number ratio is you divide by the smallest number. And so here, the smallest number is 0.337. So I'm going to do that for the calcium, and I get a 1, obviously. 0.675 over 0.337 is roughly going to be 2 for O, and 0.668 over 0.337, it's going to be darn close to 2. 0.668 divided by 0.337. Sometimes there's a little bit of rounding, like this one is 1.98. So I'm just going to write this, CaO2H2. Okay? Just as a little sidelight, one of my problems that was practice, I don't even remember what the element was, but when they did that division, it was like x was 1 and y was 1.5. A simplest whole number ratio has to have whole numbers, obviously. So this formula needs to be multiplied by some factor that will get rid of that decimal. So this would end up being x2, y3. If this is something you already saw and you know, that's fine. If you would like to know more about it, you can get back to me. Okay, bye.